So the former loyal servant and advisor of Kael'Thas just started a prey system operation not sanctioned by Silvermoon, where he's using the chaos of midnight and is using us to gather this anguish energy that looks and behaves almost exactly like the anima from the Shadowlands. At the same time, Kael'Thas was essentially redeemed at the end of the Shadowlands, and Denathrius himself was set to return. His entire story ended on a cliffhanger. Could something sinister be going on, and are we just being used? Could this guy be a dreadlord trying to get Denathrius in on the saga, or could it be an old Kael'Thas loyalist trying to get his former master back? What is everything we currently know? Warhammer, Red Dead Redemption, WoW Game Time, Destiny, you can get all of this at amazing prices with my link in the description below. You also got mobile top-ups, software, a bunch more with the best prices on the market. Better yet, if you use my code DORON, you will get another discount on top, so click the link in the description and get the best deals ever at Gamivo. So, we've been talking about the return of Kael'Thas and Denathrius for quite a while now, especially Denathrius, since his ending back in Shadowlands was just a complete cliffhanger. We never actually defeated him, he freed himself. It was obvious that he was freed. I mean, we had him betraying the jailer essentially, and it was clear he was working on his own completely independent plan. Based on that lore, his entire dreadlord ordeal was obviously his own mission, where he played with everyone from the Titans to the Legion, and he influenced the events on Azeroth as well. And with this ancient plan he's been working on, in what way would he not be in on what is currently going on Azeroth? I mean, he is technically the true creator of the Scourge in a way, directly responsible for the Legion as well. Furthermore, it was confirmed that the entire World Soul Saga ending is going to really deal with this ancient mechanism that is holding the universe together. It's going to be a final battle type scenario where someone is going to win, and all the cosmological forces are going to be involved. So based on this, his return is almost guaranteed. The only way I can see him not coming back is if Blizzard is just trying to ignore Shadowlands ever really happened. On the other hand, we have Kael'Thas, who is in a bit of a weird spot. I mean, Blizzard really turned him into a villain all of a sudden for no reason back at TBC. He was obviously a good guy and someone that would sacrifice his life for his people back in Warcraft 3. Then, over time, the Fel corruption got to him and he started serving the Legion. He betrayed his people, tried to actually invade Kael'Thas. Now, interesting thing we noticed is that they actually removed his statues from Silvermoon. We just saw as Midnight was released that his statue was found at the bottom of the sea, so obviously the Blood Elves don't like this guy. However, we did get his story back in Revendreth and Shadowlands. He was a relatively major character in the expansion, and the way his thing ended was that he was essentially redeemed. He was arrogant and everything, but he went through this redemption process. Now, obviously, we've recently learned that the entire Shadowlands realm is just pure BS, just like this energy farming simulation. It's not real afterlife at all. So, realistically, who knows how possible it is to even actually return back to the material plane. I mean, we know whoever built the Shadowlands, and it's hinted to be the Titans, they created a mechanism for some to be able to return to the material plane with enough energy. This happened through Ardenweald and the World Tree, so it is definitely possible. Now, on to why I'm actually talking about this, and something interesting players have noticed that now that Midnight is out. So if you've seen what Blizzard they released this new feature called the Prey system, which is like this open world challenge where you mark yourself as the hunter, but you can also be the prey and you get suddenly attacked and ambushed. Now, this is not really that big of a deal. I mean, it's just like a new interesting gameplay addition, like this new mechanism, until you kind of start digging a bit into the lore behind this entire thing. So this entire prey thing is actually created by a guy called Astalor Bloodsworn, Magister Astalor Bloodsworn. The entire ordeal is completely shady. It's not sanctioned at all by the Silvermoon's government, but they're kind of letting it slide as they need any help they can currently get, and the prey headquarters are the headquarters of Astalor. Interesting enough, what he seems to be getting out of this is anguish, the extraction of anguish from the targets, which players have noted suspiciously not only look almost exactly like anima back from the Shadowlands, but it also behaves oddly similar in a very similar manner. It seems like the entire operation is just a front for him to gather this anima-like energy that he doesn't exactly explain what he is really doing with this. Now, if you actually dig in a bit into his background, we can start connecting some dots. So, Astalor is actually an OG Blood Elf, one of the most notable ones as well. He was actually a direct advisor and a very loyal servant of Kael'Thas himself back in the day. He is the guy that was involved directly in the enslavement of the Naru and siphoning his magics when Kael'Thas himself brought him back. He's very well versed on blood magic, and he co-founded the Blood Knight Order, which originally were paladins only on paper, but really they were just extracting and siphoning this energy. So this guy has not only been dealing in very shady and dangerous magics, but he was also very close to Kael'Thas himself. Now, as all of this is happening, he seems to be gathering this anguish energy from targets and collecting it for an unknown purpose. I mean, surely immediately he seems to be using this magic to empower magical defenses and enhance weapons, but that could just be a front as well. While it could of course be a reach, you gotta admit, this whole thing is really shady. I mean, the guy has headquarters in a place called the Murder Row. He's extracting anguish and organizing a manhunt for the enemies of Kael'Thas, and he's gathering this very strange energy that is surprisingly really similar to the anima used in Kael'Thas. If you remember from the Shadowlands, the entire realm essentially operated on anima. I mean, the whole Shadowlands operation, as I said, seems to really also be a front for gathering anima and transferring it to the Death Realm so that it can survive. The Machine of Death was broken, so the jailer was getting everything. That is why he got so powerful, and Ardenweald was facing a drought. Ardenweald in the Shadowlands is like a regeneration realm where they use anima through the cocoons to revive certain characters back into the material plane. When they were facing the drought, they had to sacrifice these beings and their revival just to sustain themselves. So realistically, we know there is a mechanism where if you gather enough anima, you can bring back characters to the realm. Why people have connected is because this guy is obviously dealing in shady magics and might know how to do exactly something like this. I mean, to bring just a single character like Kael'Thas or potentially someone a lot more powerful like Denathrius wouldn't really take a crazy amount of energy now that Shadowlands have been operational once again. I mean, obviously it takes a crazy amount of energy, but why not use the chaos that is currently going on in Midnight and Kael'Thas, get people to think they're empowering themselves and helping while they just farm this energy for you. Even crazier, he's collecting this type of energy. As I said, it is very oddly similar to anima. In regards to Kael'Thas, I don't really know. Personally, I did expect his redemption could be possible, as after all, he was a good guy until Blizzard decided to suddenly villainize him, but you can attribute a lot of his bad deeds to just fell magic corrupting his mind. I mean, obviously he was able to redeem himself in Revendred, so he wasn't just like this black and white villain. I don't think he would be the new ruler, but something is possible. I mean, I could see his former advisor working on a project like this. It would make sense. However, seeing that they also just threw his statue to the bottom of the sea, I'm not certain how receptive the Blood Elves would be of his return. On the other hand, the entire Denathrius ordeal could even be crazier. As I said, his return has already been set up. We never actually defeated the dreadlords. They legit freed him at the end of the story, and we never got a follow-up. This guy could be a dreadlord working for him that is gathering this to summon him to complete his plan. Maybe Denathrius could even take on the form of Kael'Thas, or it could be some other dreadlords. Of course, it is possible that it isn't much deeper than this, but just think about it. I mean, former advisor and loyal servant of Kael'Thas with a history of dealing in shady stuff suddenly starting this operation not sanctioned by Silvermoon. He's suddenly just gathering this really suspicious energy. There could really be something crazy going on behind this entire prey ordeal. Thank you for watching. Check out the Amani may be summoning the Legion as well on the new isle by clicking on the screen, and subscribe to my brand new Witcher lore channel by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.